Hey everybody, welcome to Ref Time, powered by RTS and produced by Coraggio Media. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Crane. We'll be covering rules, plays, points of emphasis, and all things official. Welcome to another segment of Ref Time, and we have the great, smiling Josh Wenning in the house. How you doing, Mr. Josh?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you both. Thank you.
Hey, we're excited to have you.
He's excited. Look at that smile on his face.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming on at such short notice. But you have been officiating. Will you do 2 sports or more?
So I do 3. I also do lacrosse.
That's right.
Along with volleyball.
Boys
and
lacrosse.
Boys lacrosse only, correct.
Okay.
It's a very different sport between boys and girls lacrosse.
And we did
Right.
girls. That's
And
why I
you
had to
did- that's right.
differentiate. There
Yeah.
are 2 different worlds.
That's right.
Because
Yes.
boys is a lot of contact.
Yes, it is. I just finished my first year. I know that's not what we're mainly talking about,
No,
but
it's
yeah.
good.
it was. I had a lot of fun doing lacrosse. I've always been a fan of the game, but I've never played, never coached, didn't have any kids that played. I've just watched it on TV a bunch, and when and just like every sport, you see that there's shortages.
Right.
And I'm like, I had so much fun reffing basketball that I was like, I want to keep working. I want to in the springtime. I want to do still do the weekend stuff for basketball, but I want to do more during the week, and just kind of reached out to the folks at USA Lacrosse, and they got me connected with the right individuals here in Northeast Indiana. I had a lot of fun. Had great mentors, just like you two, who were very patient with me as someone new, and were very encouraging and positive. And I feel like I really learned a lot throughout the year, and had a lot of fun doing it.
Well, it's easy when you have a student that really wants to learn and,
Yeah, it's true.
and really puts forth the effort. So
And we don't say that lightly. That's true.
no,
That's very
no,
true.
because you really did when you came into volleyball.
Yep. You were a
to
pleasure.
our training. Yeah,
Pleasure to train.
yeah, because you're like, well, I already took the test and I did test, and I was like, oh, he took the test already.
Yeah, took the test,
like, wait a
you were
minute.
ready to go. But
So-
that told us that you were a student of I started to say a student of the game, but you're a student of sports. You're a student of
Yes.
whatever game you're involved
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Because you came in ready to go. You said, but I just want to make sure I'm on point.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I wasn't quite sure how to prepare for this conversation today, but that was one of the things that I was reflecting about. Kind of what motivates me. Why am I doing this? Officiating overall, and you're right. I mean, I did think about that. I enjoy sports. I'm a fan of sports, but I'm
Right.
also understanding the mechanics, the rules, the strategy, all these different perspectives. And probably like all of us, we've played different sports, and now as we've learned other sports, it's interesting to learn how all that works.
Yeah.
And so, and also I think too, I do try and have a growth mindset in whatever I do, whatever I'm doing. I never. It's like I was out playing golf yesterday. As soon as you think you have it figured out, the game quickly reminds you that you
You
don't.
do not.
And that's the same with whatever you're doing, right? I don't care if I had played and coached volleyball for 30 years, and I come into this with the attitude I have nothing to learn. The game is going to very quickly show you that there is something to learn.
Yes.
Amen.
a
Because
new
the game of
experience.
volleyball, as many other sports, 30 years ago is completely different
Yes.
from what it is today.
Yes, it is.
And so it is a big learning curve, and it's interesting because, when I have met with other people who used to play the sport, and then they come out and they're like, oh, what is rally scoring?
Yes. What's a libero?
Yeah, what is a libero? They can have 2 of them?
Yeah.
What,
Where's the side out?
yeah.
That's when I played. That's what we played with. And you're right. So all the evolution of the game, the rule changes over the
Yeah.
years. Same with
The
basketball,
speed.
the speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the sports that have just as they evolve,
Right.
just constantly. I think that's what I would tell any person coming into officiating, no matter what you've done, is there is ample opportunity to learn and grow, and to surround yourself with experts and people with more experience, and be ready to listen and learn.
Yeah,
and
and
that's
playing
what I
the
try and
game is
do.
different than knowing the rules to the
Oh
game.
yes.
So that's a whole different learning curve. Like when
It
you're
is.
playing the game, you're just learning how to play.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, you pick up on some rules, like what a travel is if we're talking about basketball, double dribble. Yeah, we all know those things. But do we really know the backcourt violations?
Yeah.
Do we know that there's no longer an over-the-back call?
Yes.
That call went away many, many moons ago.
Many moons ago.
And
Yeah.
so, it's learning to adapt to the current times. And, it's funny when we are officiating, that's one of the things that we hear, over the back.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the reason we kind of started the podcast, too,
Yeah.
is we wanted to make people aware of the officiating world.
Right.
We wanted them to meet real life officials and see the humane side of us.
Right.
And to talk about rule changes and then just make the public aware, hearing it from officials because they don't get a chance to talk to us very often.
Sure.
Here we
They
are.
talk at us.
Yeah, they talk at us a lot. Now, Josh,
Yeah.
you said you're involved in 3 sports, so
Yes.
tell me how long you've been involved in each one, what they are, how long you've been involved.
Yeah, so the one I've been involved with the most is basketball. As an official, that goes back to I did a couple years of officiating back when I was in Michigan as an educator. So I did a couple years there. Then I took about probably 10 years off and just finished my second year first or second year first
I think you've been doing 2
two.
years.
Yeah, so just finished my
Because you just came into volleyball last year.
Yeah.
And so that would have been your first year in basketball. No.
yeah.
Oh,
He's done 1 year of volleyball.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
just starting that now.
Yep.
So,
So I think you're going into your 3rd year of basketball.
third year of basketball.
so.
Yes, this will be my.
Doesn't it all blend together?
It
does.
all
It
blends
all
together.
starts to
Yeah,
meld.
yeah. Your
Yeah.
listeners like, who is this? You guys don't even know what he's doing.
No,
yeah.
people ask me
Hey.
all
It
the time.
blends
I'm like,
together.
28, 29, I don't know.
Yeah. We
don't
30,
know.
I
It's
don't
been a
know.
while.
Yeah.
This past season for lacrosse, this is a spring sport for the boys. That was my first year doing that, and then this was my first season for volleyball.
So how do you like doing the outdoor lacrosse?
That was interesting, and I know we talked about this a couple times in our sessions in the spring. So that was a shock to the system. Part of me was excited to be back outside. I played football back in high school. I coached middle school golf, so I was not, immune to outside
Right.
elements. But as a spring sport, when you start the season, and literally my first game, it was 9 degrees. I will not forget. At Homestead, actual game, varsity game, 9. I did not have the right.
He said it 3
gear.
times.
Yes,
9
9.
Well, it was on the right side of the
Yeah.
zero, though,
Yeah,
right?
Yes, it was not negative. Maybe I don't know if the wind chill.
The
took it
wind
down
chill might have
below.
been, though. Yeah.
And so I did not have the right gear yet. So along the way, I'm learning from my colleagues as they show up and they have the correct gear. I'm like, oh, I didn't know we could have a
Layers.
black jacket over our long sleeve shirts where I'm sitting here freezing. Like, okay, and headgear and things like that. So, and then of course by the end of the season, now it's hot. You've got hot and humid conditions in May. So just having, in basketball, you pretty much have your set gear, right?
Yep.
You've got your uniform, your pants, your shoes, and your warm-up jacket, your whistle, and you're pretty much good to go. In lacrosse, I had to have a big, huge black duffel bag of all, shoes to wear in the rain, shoes to wear when it's dry, shoes to wear on grass, shoes to wear on artificial turf,
Wow.
shorts, pants, long sleeve shirt, short sleeve shirt.
Wow.
And then all the different. Now, obviously, I was able to anticipate
Snow
the weather.
boots.
Right.
Yeah, the snow. Yeah, really.
Wow.
You're not kidding.
Wow.
Yeah, everything undergarment layers. So that was it. It was kind of fun. I don't mind. It's kind of like, to me, it's like all part of the uniform, right? It's all part of what you put together to be ready to be an official. And so I didn't mind it. It was just all part of learning.
But it sounds like you need about $800 just to get completely suited
So-
up.
So all that money that you made doing basketball,
It
you
helped.
went,
It helped. I
Now
did it
you're wearing
slowly.
it.
I did it slowly over time, and I looked for deals, so I
Right.
made sure. So it actually wasn't too bad, but of course, anything you layer, you have some of the stuff already, from compression gear to long
Right.
tights and all that kind of stuff. So
and you kept
Yeah.
all your receipts, right?
oh yes,
Because we do know that is a tax write-off.
it all goes to the CPA at the end
Yes,
of the
it
year.
does.
So
Yes,
yes,
it
indeed.
does.
And that's a good point, because a lot of people don't realize that we are independent contractors.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of folks, and so when we're recruiting people, you already knew it, but when I'm recruiting a lot of people, I'm like, do you realize that if you become an official, you work for yourself? And they
Right.
go, what do you mean? We contract with different locations. You contract with Fort Wayne Community Schools. You contract with East Allen County Schools. You contract with
Gym rats.
Norwell, Gym Rats.
Whoever you're
Speeds.
working
You
with.
contract, and basically you work for yourself. We're teaching you how to get your first business off the ground, and people go, well, I never thought of it like that. Well,
Yeah.
you have to think of it like that. That's who we are, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that point up. Now, the 3 sports you've been involved with, I got to ask you, which one's your favorite?
Basketball. Yeah.
Ooh,
Basketball.
my
Yeah.
man. Yeah, family dap.
Yes.
Yeah, basketball. Why?
So basketball has been my favorite sport going back to my days, middle school, high school as a player. Basketball and football are my 2 probably best sports, and I actually had kind of choosing out of high school which one I wanted to play. I had maybe a chance to play in college under scholarship, but honestly, I wasn't quite that good. I played so I went to junior college out of high school.
Okay.
I played in junior college. Could have played football as well. We had a pretty good football program. This is in San Diego, so the junior college system is very, very big, very strong. My junior college that I went to at Grossmont College, we had 15,000 students.
Wow.
So this is not
That's junior college.
That's junior college, yeah.
Wow.
And it's right, basically 3 or 4 miles away from San Diego State. So a lot of students go back and forth, as far as scheduling and getting classes. Pretty good facilities overall. That led into I quickly figured out I wanted to be an educator and I wanted to become a coach. And so my college courses and whatnot were all geared toward becoming a teacher, but then also picking up coaching classes. Transferred to Indiana University, had a chance to take some of Bob Knight's coaching classes, and that was interesting to say the least. To hear that could be a whole nother podcast of just Bob Knight stories. But
we'll have to bring him back on.
And then I was fortunate to kind of wrap the question up. I was fortunate. Right out of college. For those of you who don't know, as an educator, before you graduate, you do what's called student teaching. You get assigned to a school, and you are not being paid by the school, but you're there as a full-time teacher. I was at Bloomington North High School, right there in Bloomington, Indiana, where I was going to school and living. And as a student teacher, I made contact with the head football coach and the head basketball coach and worked as a coach on both of those programs. And our basketball team won the state championship that year.
Wow.
What year was that?
1996-97, the last year of single-class basketball in Indiana.
See, I was curious because you said Bloomington North.
Yes, and Bloomington South has a very good program as well. So
now, see, Bloomington South, that's the name I was thinking about.
I can't.
That's the
is
team,
that the team that beat Reggie's team?
That's the team that beat our son in the state final.
Yeah.
Probably they're purple and white. They're the purple and white team.
Bloomington South.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at you then.
That's right.
I'm not.
I get a pass.
Since it's Bloomington.
Well, I mean,
North.
it was years before Reggie graduated, so it's okay.
Well, you said it was in when?
96, 97.
Oh, yeah. Reggie,
Yeah.
that was the long time prior.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And so all that to say, basketball is the game I think I have the most natural connection to. I have the most, I would say, foundational knowledge, just to say that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like because I've played and coached, I went on to become an athletic director and high school principal. So I've had these different roles and perspectives of the game and of officials.
Okay.
And I think it's kind of allowed me to kind of step into this new phase as an official.
So what are you doing currently? You said you're in education. What is your profession right now?
Yeah, so I'm the executive director for the Region 8 Education Service Center. We're one of 9 service centers across the entire state of Indiana, and we provide a lot of cooperative services and resources for K-12 schools, public, private, parochial, and we cover all of Northeast Indiana. So we have 33 public school districts plus another 14 or 15 private school members. We do things like professional development, purchasing, grant work, food bids, just school bus purchasing. It's kind of a smorgasbord of resources that we do with schools, and I have this great job and role of being able to kind of work with, have my hands in all of those.
Okay.
And then
so these schools then
Yeah.
you contract with them and they pay you for those services?
That's correct. So we're a member-driven organization. So I would for the average person, I would kind of compare it to being a member at Costco or Sam's Club. You pay a membership fee, but then you get discounted pricing, you get different advantages and things
of all the services.
Offer. Yeah, exactly. And so there's some that are free, but then there's also ones that are an additional fee, but it's discounted because they're already paying us to be a member. I've been there 12 years, and it's been a great fit for me, and I love what I get to do. And having, I used to be on a track to be a superintendent. That was the direction my career was taking me, and I was very close a couple times to becoming a superintendent. And now working directly with all the superintendents in Northeast Indiana, I have nothing but respect for all of them. And I know that, man, I love what I get to do, and I feel blessed to have that job. And at 4 or 5 o'clock, I get to go home, and they have a lot of other stuff still happening.
In other words, you don't want their job now.
I do not want their job. I want to support them and help them be their best, but I feel like I'm at where I'm supposed to be, and how can I help them be at their best? And that's what I love about what I get to do.
Listening to him, then, I think since we have a school, then maybe you going to be the superintendent or am I? Which one of us gets to work with him as superintendent of our school?
Be co-superintendent.
That's a whole nother podcast as well.
That's a whole nother
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll talk about
She
that.
shut me down on 2 different topics. Wow. Here I am trying to make conversation. She's shutting me down.
That's all right.
So you've been doing that for 12 years.
Yes.
And you love it.
Love it.
And you love officiating.
I do.
So what kind of rules out of the 3, you got it hard. I mean, you got 3 different sports to choose from. So you get to tell us what rule out there is your pet peeve rule in any of the 3 sports.
Ooh.
Are there rules that overlap between the 3 that maybe
that's a different podcast?
No, it's not.
I just wanted to say it.
It's not. We're talking about rules.
So I think rules
That's
that
a different question.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
I think rules that overlap, and one of the things I've always liked about sports is you're always trying to help kids and students be
Right.
better, right?
Right.
That's what sports is about, helping you grow as an individual. And I think one thing that's easy to overlap is sportsmanship, right? It's sportsmanship. It's learning how to conduct yourself when you're winning, when you're losing, in a tough contest, in a blowout. As in sports, those things, you learn those things very quickly. And
Right.
so that's one of the things that I've always, going back to why I got an education, was a chance to impact youth and to help them grow and be the best versions of themselves. And sports is one vehicle to help accomplish
It
that.
is.
So there's the sportsmanship side, I think, is an easy one. I think also is, I think one of the things that I feel like we're responsible for as officials is also making sure the game is safe. That that the participants, the coaches, the fans are there in a safe environment. And so, again, you are both far more experienced officials than I am, but one of the things that I really want to concentrate on as I'm working is making sure that every time I'm in the middle of a play that I'm, blowing the whistle when it needs to be blown to stop the play, but then also to make sure that play doesn't continue on not
Right.
necessarily. And we all know in a tight, aggressive, physical contest of a variety of sports, if you don't blow the whistle quick, the play continues and all of a sudden bad things happen.
Especially in lacrosse.
In lacrosse, yeah. And kids get hurt.
Yeah.
One of the things I was just working on just recently, even in volleyball, was when that ball is, even when it's still in flight, but it's going out of play and clearly out of play as an official, blow the whistle. Don't let some player go flying and trying to make a hustle play, and now they're diving over stands or out of bounds or into
into
a
the
wall.
wall.
Right.
And all of a sudden they're hurt when someone, I shouldn't say that hasn't happened to me yet, but to make sure that doesn't happen, right? So just creating a safe environment so that everyone can be at their best and can continue to play. It's one play, right? So why let it go on too long? And the last thing I'll say is probably the hardest thing to call as a young official has been in lacrosse, has been the idea that some penalties have different levels of infraction. So the same penalty could be a 1-minute penalty, a 2-minute penalty, or a 3-minute penalty. It's all about severity. And so as an inexperienced official, when you don't have those differentiators, right? You don't have that, well, how severe was that?
Right.
And I'll give a quick example. It's there's a rule in lacrosse that you're not supposed to, the helmet in boys lacrosse is not to be contacted with the stick. But there's an exception. It can be grazed. That's the term. It can be grazed. So if I'm shooting and my stick kind of glances off your helmet, or I'm defending and it glances off the helmet, that might be a continuation. Now if it strikes
Direct hit.
if it strikes your helmet, I have to make a call, and it kind of luckily I don't have to make it like immediately. I throw a flag, kind of like in football. The official throws the flag, the play plays out, and then you have a chance to talk it over with your fellow refs. And that's again where it's been great to have veteran officials, because one of the vets, the first thing they'll say, "What did you see?" They're asking me, "What did I see?" They may have had it in a better angle than I had,
Right.
but in order to learn, what did you see? And then I have to defend what I saw, and then we talk through it, and then we adjudicate the play. But there's calls like that where there's like hockey a little bit, right? Hockey have the same sort of thing, right? Where you have different levels for individual calls. It's what makes the sport unique, but then also as a challenge as a younger official.
It's interesting because in basketball, we don't have flags that we can throw and say, maybe we'll call a foul there.
Yes. Yeah.
What we have,
That would be interesting.
it would be interesting because we talk about that and we tell our new people that come through all the time. We're like, have a patient whistle, be patient, because while the player coming to the basket may have been contacted. Was that contact enough to displace that offensive player or put them at a disadvantage to not score the basket? Was it enough? And so I can kind of see like, okay, that would be where we would put a flag. And sometimes if the player, misses the shot,
then we got a flag. Clearly, I saw something, Coach. There's a flag.
We had a flag to say, yes, we might call a foul there. The player misses the layup. Nope. Now we're going up. We're going to call that foul. Yeah. And we don't have that flag, so
That's not a bad idea, actually. And with today's technology, once we throw it up in the air, they have something out there that just holds it right there. And so we can go back to that spot right there. Coach is 23.5 feet off the end line. If I had a flag, we might be
throwing them at the fans.
Throwing them at the coaches.
But, it would be interesting, to have that kind of setup, to say, hey, yes, everybody in the gym clearly saw that there was a little bit of contact. We all saw it. But if he makes that layup,
the flag just
disappears.
Goes away.
Because it was, like he made the layup. Do we need to call it?
We need to find somebody in technology to come down.
We don't need any more responsibilities than what we have.
No, it's just a flag. But it's a disappearing flag. It's like one of the flags you throw up there, and then like in the games.
So kind of like, like the light bulb where you just kind of like have a thought.
What was that movie with this movie Sydney likes with the bow and arrow girl? What was that?
Like Hunger Games.
Yes.
Yeah, Hunger Games. So you remember they would show them like ding, like a somebody checked
little
out.
things would be coming down
so
from
little things. So we could have a little thing coming down. You don't like that?
No.
Okay. Moving on.
We could try it.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. And
they're always experimenting with new rules.
I mean,
they experiment with 4 officials in basketball.
Right. So I was talking to a young man yesterday because we were doing some training, and I was telling the guy, that people don't understand that, we don't just walk out on the court and start blowing our whistle. We don't put a striped shirt on and just go out there and willy-nilly start blowing our whistle or not calling things. It's actually that we go through training. Like we have a rule book. We read the rule book. We discuss the rule book as officials. And, we try to get better and improve. And the way that we get better is actually by reffing games.
Got my rule books right here.
Well, you have volleyball.
Yeah.
So we can't get better. I had this 15-year-old boy on the court yesterday who was reffing. He's learning. The ball came, he gave the ball to the boy on the sideline. The kid threw the ball in, and it went off of his teammate's fingers and into the backcourt, and the kid went back there to get it.
No, wait, stop. Would you have blown your whistle? Was that a violation?
Did his teammate touch the ball in the front court or the back court?
Now, remember, the ball's being inbounded.
It's from out of bounds. It was real near the 10-second line. The ball went out of bounds. He inbounded from the sideline.
It was in the front court.
It was in the front court.
It was
close to the 10-second line. But he tossed the ball in. Go ahead and tell it.
He tossed the ball in. It went off of his teammate's fingers into the backcourt. The kid went back there and picked it up. What do we have?
I think we've got an over and back if he touched it in the front court.
Remember, though, the ball was out of bounds.
Oh, there we go. I'm already going to be corrected, which is good. There
was no team control.
There was no team control.
There's no team control because the ball's being inbounded.
And there was no player control.
But the boy blew the whistle.
Yeah.
I don't mind him blowing the whistle.
Because he's learning.
Yeah.
I have a dad over there in the sideline.
The way she glared at this dad, I was like,
you can
why?
clearly see we're training.
Why did you glare at the dad? He doesn't know the rule. He doesn't care. Leave. And she looked at him like you idiot. I'm going, don't look at him like that. It's too late.
He's yelling at this 15-year-old boy about the fact that he blew his whistle to call a backcourt violation.
So she turns around and looks at him like, you're an imbecile.
So, because he kept on going about it. And I looked at him like, can you clearly see that we are here and we are training this young man and the other gentleman on the other? We're training.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Yeah.
I know the rules.
We'll talk through it.
We're going to talk through it, which is what I did. I said, you were taking the ball out of bounds. He inbounded it. I said, what did you have? He goes, well, he touched it and he went back and got it. I said, okay, but it was out of bounds. And so we didn't have team control.
Nor player control.
If he had grabbed it and it went back into the backcourt and
then we got over and back.
That's a different
Then we have
situation.
backcourt violation.
Yeah.
And so we talked through it, And I said, okay. He's like, okay, so what do I do? I said, you just say inadvertent whistle.
And you point the right direction.
And we point to the right direction and where we're going to take the ball back out of bounds at. And so, you know, and he did. And so we took the ball, and I'm just like, people, we have to learn.
Yeah.
But I want to make a point about that, because that was a training. We were doing it. It was it was interesting. It was full court 3-on-3 kids, and it was a shorter court. So I'm on the sideline just talking to some of the parents, and one of them looks at me and she goes, so how long's that? Because we had 2 newbies out there. One of them was much older, one was much younger. And she said, how long's he been out there? I said, with one. She said, the younger one. I said, yeah, he's been with us. It's probably maybe 8 to 10 hours he's been on the court so far. She goes, really? And I thought she was going to say something insulting. She goes, oh my gosh, he's good. I said, well, we've put a lot of training into him. And I said, and the number one thing about him is he's very coachable.
And he's 15, and so he runs.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, he sprints like a little gazelle.
And at some point I want to tell him, slow down.
You ran past everybody.
He ran into the wall. He was running so fast. He ran. I was like, bro, slow down.
Slow down.
He just bounced off the wall like, okay, what did I miss?
Yeah, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Well, and I think it's a good lesson too, not only about the young person, but how to mentor younger officials or newer officials, right? So I remember I screwed up a call in a middle school game earlier this year where in basketball, shot, hits the rim, goes up, hits the top of the backboard, falls in, is good. I revert back in the day, top of the backboard used to be out.
Right.
Used to be. It's not anymore.
Yep.
Correct.
I blew the whistle. I waved off the 3. It was a good 3-point shot because in my mind I was reverting back to an old rule.
Right.
And I was working with a veteran partner. He let it go, but the next dead ball he pulled me aside and said, I just want to let you know, top of the backboard's in, because we were getting it from a parent. I think this kid's dad. Kid's dad was right. And so it's one of those things where I appreciate that my partner told me in a professional. I mean, just like you guys were talking your example.
Right.
I think as long as new officials, we have veterans like you all who are willing to do it appropriately, professionally.
Correct.
Not show you up.
Not trying to embarrass you, just teach. You know.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Like even though I made the wrong call, I learned, and it didn't dissuade me or cause me to not want to come back or continue to officiate.
And you won't make that mistake again.
I won't make that mistake again.
And the thing is, you also need to know as a new official that we have your back. Like if I'm working with you and you make a bad call, I'm not going to let a coach ride you. I am not going to let a fan, carry on. It's something that we're going to put a stop to because we have to have the opportunity to learn. We're going to make mistakes.
That's how we learn.
That's how we learn. I don't know, if barbers and beauticians, that's what they do. They learn. They make mistakes. You're not perfectly going to cut somebody's hair or color somebody's hair. So do you want me to show up at your job and yell at you and tell you how terrible of a job you're doing?
So you're talking about when you cut my hair. Is that what we're talking about here?
I don't know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
she don't know what I'm talking about. Okay.
I don't cut your hair.
There's nothing to cut, and I just want you guys to know she's the reason I'm bald.
That is incorrect. That is an incorrect
That's another
statement.
story for another day.
That's another podcast.
It's a totally different podcast. Go ahead.
I was going to say it was neat because in the club season, once lacrosse ended, I got back into basketball this year, and I actually had that chance to be in that role. All of a sudden, I was working with a brand new official. Like she was brand new, and which was great. And she was great. She's played, she knows the game, but just learned how to be an official. And so I had a chance to kind of almost pay it forward a little bit. So even though I'm a new, and I told her, I said hey, look, I'm new as well, but I got your back. We're gonna get through this fine. We were talking in between dead balls, but one of the coaches pulled me aside and he's like she's new, isn't she? I was like, yeah, she's new. I said, so if you have a problem, just talk to me. Talk to me. I said, don't, please give her a break. She's working, but she knows her stuff. You got to let her, so don't try and show her up. Don't yell at her in an unprofessional manner. She's new. She's learning. I told the guy too. I said, look, I'm newer as well. I'm not saying I'm not going to mess up, but just talk to us. And I think that's the other thing that good officials do. And I've seen both of you do that before. When coaches want to ask a question, and they're being, and I get it, the heat of the moment, we can have elevated tones and all that kind of stuff. But if I think good officials are willing to have those conversations to a point, but to help, here's my angle, or I know it, I didn't see it. That's another thing you learn is no matter how hard we work, we can be in the exact spots we're supposed to be in the rule books and our mechanics, but we can still miss calls because we get blocked, we get screened. There's something happen where, away from the ball, those sort of things. Sometimes that happens. And then finally, the thing I also learned was you can't call what you don't see.
Yep.
Right?
That's the truth.
Because everybody in the gym
everyone in the gym heard it. Yeah, you heard it.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it.
I can't call what I don't see.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I'm in the right position, I can still be screened and I can't call it. So,
and so many times players will go by and play defense and smack their own hands.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, everybody in the gym heard
They
that.
heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, but did you see it?
Yes.
Because what I saw was him go by and clap his own hands.
Right.
So.
Josh, listening to you when you were talking about helping that young lady, something came to my mind. In education, because I was in education too, the one thing about that is the old saying, if you really want to learn something, teach it. If you are in a position where you have to teach a new official, now you have to come out of your own nervousness and you have to, as an educator, we're going to think about, okay, how does this person feel? So you come out of yourself and go, okay, like you said, coach, if you have anything, ask me. I'm still new too, but just ask me. Well, now you've taken that off of her shoulders, put on your own, and now you're going to learn a whole different set of lessons. When you become teacher.
I remember in that game we were having some pushback on moving screens, the old high, pick and roll moving screens, and they were definitely gray area. It was both sides. It was one of it's that club.
What age were these kids?
They were probably middle school, 8th grade, probably.
Yeah, they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah,
right.
And so so we were my partner and I, we were talking about that. Like at what point, obviously it's club. We're not calling. To the letter of the law on an exact moving screen,
right?
Which that could be a whole other podcast in itself, right?
Right.
But and so it was to your point, Crane. We were to talk about it, like, okay, where is that gray area? Where is it a kind of a hip out, kind of thing, or is it I'm taking a step, or is it my shoulder coming out?
Right. And then if they don't make contact,
and then if there's no contact,
then it's not a foul.
So you're talking through all of these different things, and so you're right. In my mind, I was like, "Ooh, She asked a really great question back to me, like. Now I have to really think about like how would I define when I'm going to call a moving screen and to make sure that we're on the same page and to help her.
And then you don't want to send the wrong message to this newbie.
No.
So you kind of really grading yourself on what you're going to blow and what you're not.
Yeah.
And I've been there.
And then that's where our consistency. That's where coaches are saying we want to see consistency. So and that is an area that we need to be consistent in. So if I'm going to call that little lean as illegal on this end, then I need to make sure that I'm calling it on the other end as well. And so, or if I'm letting this go, then I'm letting it go on the other end.
Yes.
And so that is an area, and I think overall, we are pretty consistent in that area.
When you say we, who you mean?
Officials. I think overall, we're pretty consistent with it. Now, where you come into the gray area is where, like you said, in AAU, where we don't switch a lot in AAU because we're out there for 3 to 7 to 12 games in a day.
Yeah.
And so
conserve energy.
We're conserving energy.
Yes.
So I might be the lead official for the whole first half down here, and you might be the trail. And so you're calling illegal screens on this end, and then we come down here, and I'm the trail, but I'm not calling illegal screens. And so then they think that we're being inconsistent, and we might be. Because you're seeing it this way, and then I'm just letting it go.
I was thinking that exact same thing, Tanya, before you even mentioned that was another challenge for a young official is to make sure you're at the level of that you and your partner or partners are at the same level as far as what you're calling. You got to match, right? To your point.
But if you got a newbie, they don't know.
And they don't know
what to call as a match.
Yeah.
They don't realize I should be matching Josh. Just like I'm scared, and they're just going to call what they think or don't call what they don't.
Well, and that's where we always try to tell people it's about communication, and that as officials, I always tell people we communicate with eyes and sign language. If I do this, everybody in the gym knows what I'm calling. It's a foul. If I do this, I'm just stopping the clock. I'm just telling everybody to hold up. I just I want you to wait a minute. Or I'm stopping the clock. And so we use a lot of hand motions, and then to be a good partner is to have good eye communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I need to know that you're ready to go before I give the players the ball.
Yeah.
If you're not ready, if you're not paying attention, you're down there talking to the coach.
Yeah.
You know, the coach is trying to get a question answered. Then I'm going to be patient and I'm going to wait. I'm not going to wait long because I'm not going to let that coach sit there and you know, use up all the time. So I'm going to let you have an opportunity to answer his or her question, and then we're going to put that ball in play, and we're going to get going.
We got to keep going.
Yeah, because I'm going to say, hey, Josh, let's go.
Yep.
You know, I'm putting the ball in play.
Now I've got a test question for you. You did not come through our basketball class.
Correct.
You came through our volleyball class.
Correct.
But I have a basketball test question
Oh
for
boy.
you.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy. I already missed the last one. All right, let's see if I get this one right.
So here's the question. I lost my train of thought. I just lost it just that quick.
Wow.
Wow.
How old are you?
14, 15. What was that question I had? I don't remember what it was. It'll come back to me because it was a good question.
All right. I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
It was so
Yeah,
good.
yeah, wow. What was I going to ask you? I don't remember what it was.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about officials, and we're going to talk a little bit about our need for officials.
Yeah.
It was something along those lines, so keep talking. Maybe it'll come back to
Okay,
me.
stop interrupting. So,
Do I interrupt a lot?
so
Okay.
we're in a current, I want to say a current crisis, if you will, where we have a need of officials. And as a matter of fact, my sister-in-law just sent me a text a couple hours ago, and she was reading an article that was saying over the next 10 years, these particular the top 20 industries that are going to be in need of more employees, if you will. And obviously we're not employees, but it's
More workers.
more workers. And so we're going to be in the next 10 years 31% where we increase, and we need more officials. You know, so it's just going to
What do you
keep
mean
rising.
31%?
I don't know. It was 31%. Like, it was the breakdown.
We're going to
of,
need 31% more?
yeah,
Is that it?
like it's going to be on the rise of of need.
And I think everybody sees that already.
And yeah, we're already there.
But, a lot of people think that the lack of officials is because of the way fans act. That's not the only reason.
It is a primary reason, though.
No,
It is up there.
I don't know if it's a primary reason. I think it's a valid reason, but you got other reasons, like a lot of us are aging out and we're not being replaced for whatever reason. One thing about that bothers me is those of us that are veteran officials, we're not purposely going out and finding people to train and mentor. That bothers me. I mean, if you have so much knowledge as an official, why aren't you willing to share that?
Right.
That really
Because we're
bothers
not
me.
going to be able to. We're not going to be officiating the rest of our lives.
Right.
Like, we're going to have to hang up the shoes at some point in time.
And RTS can only do so much.
Right.
That's right.
And so, our current need of officials, what do you see as some of the reasons? Like, I've already said, I think one of the primary reasons is the way that we are treated. What is your thought on that? Financially speaking, we talk about getting paid more. We're traveling a lot. Him and I, we travel a lot out, and there's so much activity here in Fort Wayne. It's amazing to me that we have to travel outside of Fort Wayne to do
part
games.
of it is because we want to.
Well, part of it is,
We
but
want to travel.
Sure.
together. Like, I
Yes.
don't want to go an
Right.
hour to go ref a game by myself. But if I'm going with him,
Yeah.
then it's kind of a date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it is. So, because we love being
Yeah.
a part of it. So
and so, I guess, what is your thought on the need, and how do you see? What are some ways that you think that we could increase our pool?
So, from my limited perspective, one of the things I noticed pretty quickly is it seems like a majority of officials in basketball are my demographic and older, and I find that to be disconcerting. I don't think that's reflective of the students that we are, the communities that we're supporting, the students that we're officiating. I think that's important that we have. When I was hiring teachers and educators, I was trying to, that was something I consciously thought about. How do I find great individuals who help reflect the community that I'm in charge of? And so I think about that from an officiating perspective. Male, female, all the demographics that go into that, race. Well, I think that's something we should be talking about. Two is, I think and this is still kind of the case. I'll be honest. I think we could do a better job of how do you get in? How do you get connected with assigners? how do you know where to go and what to do? I think there's some gaps in there. I'm not. I'm saying I collectively. I'm not pointing the fingers at anything. One of the things that helped me with volleyball is coming through your guys' program was that helped because I came through your program. You were helping me make some of those connections with the signers. That was part of what I learned coming through the RTS volleyball program.
And you got to tell Tanya that story you were telling me before we started.
Which story was I telling you?
You went to a
IHSA clinic. Yes. So
you got to hear this. This is good.
Yeah, it was what I texted you this quick little story, but one of the benefits of going to your guys' clinics, your RTS clinics, is when I went to my IHSA certification course. So for those of you who don't know, as officials, every season we have to go. The IHSA holds certification classes that we have to go and attend, and it includes a classroom portion, but also an on-court portion where we're actually on court with players playing, and there's veterans who are helping us in the various officials positions. And when I had my turn at being at the down ref as well as the up official, those were the two mentors, and both times they were like, "Whoa, you already know this stuff." And I said, I don't know everything.
Two different mentors.
Two different mentors, the down and the up, and they're like, "Man, you're ready. You're ready." And I was with a group that was all brand new. All of us in my group on this one court were all brand new. And I'm not saying that I was any necessarily better than anybody else, but I've had definitely confidence, and that confidence came from your guys' course. I was like, oh yeah, I've been studying the rules. I've been on court. I've been a down ref for Tanya at club tournaments where I'm actually on the court in real games. And so now I come into this situation, and because I'd gone through that, and because I had these experiences, my confidence level was higher, and I felt ready. And that's a big thing as an official, right? When you walk on the court, it's important that you feel ready and confident that, yes, I may not be 100%, but I'm going to be pretty darn close to 100%.
Right.
I'm going to be in the right positions. I'm going to know where to look. I'm going to know where to stand. I'm going to know where to be on the sport. And so I think that's what really helped in that case.
That's a high compliment. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And then circling back on the newer officials, I think too, I agree with what you're saying is, I think how can we as associations, as organizations, be more proactive in identifying, recruiting young people. I love your story about working with the two young men in basketball. Those are the kind of things that are going to make a difference in this. Is yes, they're not going to do varsity games tomorrow. They could be doing varsity games in 5-6 years, and they can do, CYO leagues. They can do elementary leagues.
Yep.
Grit, cut your teeth, and now all of a sudden, when you're doing middle school JV varsity games, like, whoa, I'm 25 years old. And I've been doing this for 15 or 10 years. Yeah. Shoot, I wish I had 10 years experience. I'd be in a whole different spot right now.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, you look back on life and you're like, man, I wish I would have.
Wish you would have. You're right.
Most officials say that.
Yeah.
Most officials. Yeah. Most of us wish we had started earlier.
Yeah.
And a lot of younger officials, a lot of younger people, I try to tell them, because they look at me and they'll say, yeah, Crane, you're always recruiting. I think, when the older people say, well, when my kids get out of school, I said, no. They go, no, they say, when my kids get done playing, no. And I go, what do you mean? Look, my son ended up playing the top level of basketball, and part of that is because he was in the gym with daddy when he was a baby. Our daughter is now trying to officiate at a higher level, and since she was a baby, she was in the gym with mommy and daddy. She was in the
womb.
Yeah, so you wanna start dripping on them now. And then the younger people, I tell them, I said, look, you don't understand, when you get to college, you're gonna need some money, and if you can get your license here, and I don't care where you go. If you go to California, where Josh was, you go out there, and then you're in that area, and you call around to the different middle schools and high schools and tell them you're a licensed official from the state of Indiana. You tell somebody you're a licensed official from the state of Indiana, which is basketball country, they're going to be like, what? Yeah, and I'm licensed, and I can ref on my spare time. And if you play sports, especially if you play basketball, what have you, and you're telling these schools that I play this game, and in my free time, my spare time, I can come officiate, and you're playing at the college, I said, they're going to eat you up.
Yeah, we have
keep you busy.
We have a young lady that just came through our basketball course, and she's actually
going to be a doctor.
Well, she's going to school in Illinois, which is, but where her school is, it's close to Missouri. So she's right down in that area, and so she wants, she's like, well, if I get trained here, can I still work in Illinois? I said, well, what we'll do is we'll get you a dual license. And so she will actually have a license here. She's already passed the test, so she's already licensed here.
And where did she play ball here? She played at
New Haven.
New Haven High School.
So she played at New Haven. But so we're also, I'm going to be putting her in touch with the person in Illinois so that she can have a license there in Illinois, and they will get her, tapped into some of the middle school, because she's going to play as well.
Oh, wow.
For college, yeah.
And so she's like, well, I want to make some money, and, I got to pay for things. And so she'll be able to go to, to work in Illinois, but then also work, if we can get her licensed in Missouri. I'm not sure of the steps that she's got to, go through in Missouri, but we'll get her going, and she's been doing really well. So,
and she's another one like you. She's another student that you and her remind me of the same caliber of being a student, because you guys are self-motivated. You're focused on what you want. You're organized in other areas of your life. So students like you guys are easy to work with. You already have, your life kind of going on the way you want it to, and then officiating, you've already decided officiating for me is going to be strictly a spare time or a part-time gig, and I love it. A lot of other people come to us and they're thinking, well, I want to be a pro like you. I'm like, well, that's a good aspiration, but what else is going on in your life? I mean, most officials across the world, we do this extra. Now, Tanya and I, we do it, everything we do is centered around officiating, the podcast, training school, officiating, the 3-on-3, which we got to announce that, by the way. So we do have what?
So do we want to, are you wrapping up? Is that what you're doing now?
No, I'm not wrapping up. I just, since I forgot my question to him, I don't want to forget this. So I better do it while I can. I still don't remember what the question was.
It's all right.
But when it comes back.
I would have got it right.
Well, you've got 90 seconds.
Well, whatever. So when it comes back, that question pops up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're getting a text. So anyway, 3-on-3. We're sponsoring the 3-on-3 Hoosier. It's called Hoosier 3-on-3. You guys might see some yard signs around. Plus, we just got it. It just came in the newspaper.
Back to school league.
Well, it is. Hoosier 3-on-3 has been advertised in here.
I know. I'm
Did
excited.
you see it?
No, I haven't.
It's somewhere in there. Find it. Josh, there it is.
See, Josh?
I didn't find it. Okay. So, yeah, the 3-on-3 is going to be.
He needs his glasses.
It's going to be a league, and it's going to be on Fridays, September 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th. It's anybody in the 3rd grade through the 12th grade, so it's just for kids. So we have different divisions, 3rd through 12th grade. Early registration will be August 14th at $255 a team, and then it's going to be held at Christian Community Center of Harlan. So it's going to be actually in Harlan. Harlan High School is looking to be a co-sponsor with us, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And the one thing we want to emphasize is there is no coaching. So that means the kids get to figure it out on their own. Parents, you're welcome to come and cheer for your kids and pay for them, of course. But
but you don't have to pay to get in.
Yeah,
no admissions to get in.
Oh, that's nice. We'll have concessions there, and you'll have a lot of fun. But the first one we held, Josh, was at Turnstone.
It was a tournament.
And it was a lot of fun. People had a lot of fun out there. So just want to encourage people. And tonight, tell everybody what you're doing tonight.
Tonight, I am continuing my volleyball officiating growth as I am accompanying the two of you to Norwell High School to be your assistants for at a volleyball scrimmage tonight.
I like the way you said that, my volleyball officiating growth.
That's what I came up with on the fly there. So.
I liked it. Yeah, so we are at Norwell this evening. Of course, by the time everybody watches this, it'll be over.
It'll be in the past, but that's all right.
We'll be at Norwell.
Just know when you do watch this, and we were dynamite at Norwell, by the way. We were really good.
Yeah, we did a fantastic job.
And Josh was our
amazing.
#1 fan. Yeah, it was amazing.
I'll be a line judge for it at the very least.
Hey,
you know what?
Keep us on the court.
Practice at being a line judge is also important because then it helps you to train your line judges.
Yes.
So
yeah, and I love line judging in college. I absolutely love it. So we were talking about we probably need to do a line judge clinic. Because there's a lot to line judging, and people go out there and they do it, and they're lost. And so we're thinking about that.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Do you have any extra thoughts that you would like to throw out there, Josh?
No, just I've really enjoyed being an official. I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of folks. Extra income, exercise, engage with sports you enjoy. You're going to learn about sports. You're going to grow your networks. It's a small business, so you have that side of it as well that we
Absolutely.
touched on. And again, highly recommend, if you're going to go down that path, to find great training resources and individuals like the Hearns and other opportunities that are out there to learn. And they're going to get you ready. And with that comes confidence, and with that comes success on the court. So good luck to everybody out there.
Thank you. So our next basketball training for anybody that wants to get into officiating on the basketball side will be in October. And you can register at reftrainingschool.com.
You know, I had somebody text me today and ask me when the next basketball training was, so I'm glad you told me because I didn't know what to tell her.
He forgets.
I do forget. That's why you better put it in my phone.
You can't remember the question yet?
I cannot.
Okay.
All
right,
man,
so we're
that
going to
bothers
sign
me.
off then.
Is that age?
Sorry about that. No, it's just, well.
Don't touch me like it's age. She treats me like this on a regular basis.
So we've got Hoosier3on3.com if you'd like to get more information on the 3-on-3 league
and
at
we also
Harlan.
have Ref Training School. It's the REF. Yes, thank you. Ref. It's reftrainingschool.com if you'd like to get more information on becoming an official. And right now we are training in basketball and volleyball. And we're going to add some more sports down the line. Josh, you interested in doing wheelchair basketball possibly?
Yeah, I've heard several people talk about that. And
We do that.
I've heard nothing but great things about that. And
Oh,
of course,
it's fun.
the individuals who are playing, it's a very special group.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Have
I
you
would
ever
love
done
to learn that.
You ever done homeschool officiating for any type?
I haven't. I heard you've talked about that as well. I would love to.
Yeah, they treat you good. So
love
Well,
we'll talk
he's going to
about
do
that.
some homeschool volleyball coming up. So.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Very good.
So.
Well, thanks for joining us,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Wenning, and hopefully we'll definitely see you on the court tonight.
That
Yes.
sounds great. Thank you for the
All right.
opportunity.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thanks again for listening to Ref Time, powered by reftrainingschool.com and Hoosier3on3.com. Produced by Coraggio Media, Ref Time is recorded in WELT Studios in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana.
To join RTS, visit reftrainingschool.com. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Until next time.